There he goes.
You're making too serious of a face when you look up. Like, what is he doing? Is he trying to concentrate?
I need a sound effect of a train wreck. Someone get on that.
Let's get riggedy wrecked.
Just like
I got it. Let me know when you're ready.
it's been an evening, guys. Are you gonna hit the no button? You're gonna hit the no button, aren't you?
Actually, I wasn't. But I mean, if you'd like,
I happen to have a sound effect of a train wreck right here.
but you don't have this one. Oh, never mind.
What are you?
That's you don't know.
All right. Listen, I have to play the intro music. Can you guys try to be quiet for like I don't know the 20
That's what mute is
seconds
for.
that it takes? Welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, your source for IT news, commentary, and a healthy dose of paranoia. Headbanging with Rick. That is Rick, right? I haven't seen the show still. Soon this will be the Rick and Morty podcast, even though one of us has never watched Rick or Morty.
And it wasn't me for a change. I'm not the odd man out. Usually ganged up on.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome
to episode 34. We're going to try not to wreck the podcast too early on, even though I think we're already there. Good. You guys drink. That'll help the podcast.
You started the podcast wrecked. I don't know how you think that we're going to make it worse.
I did. It's been a bad evening, folks. It is now 9 o'clock. I came up to my machine at 7 o'clock to try to get things going, and just everything went wrong. Everything. One after the other. Welcome to IT.
Well, I mean, your HA systems at your DR site took everything over automatically, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's why it took 2 hours. Because the DR site is really far away. And it took a long time for it to come on. Yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, as usual, I'm your host, Nate, and I'm joined by, from his pink missile silo, Jason. What? Why do I hear sirens?
They're coming to take me away.
They're coming to take Dustin, aren't they?
It's me. I'm here. I feel like we haven't done this in forever.
I know. It's like...
But we just did this like 2 weeks ago, so it's weird.
Yeah, and then there's the other guy, Dustin. Say hi, Dustin.
Hello. Hi, Dustin.
I'm just going to drink beer and let you guys handle the podcast tonight. How's that sound?
Oh, boy. I don't know.
Okay, we got it.
Is that a good idea?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
So, Dustin, which was your favorite Rick and Morty episode?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. I'd have to say probably my more favorite episodes would be the interdimensional cable. I just liked all the zany commercials, especially, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 with the fake door guy. That was pretty expensive. But then there were some other episodes that were good too. So I don't know. How about you?
So speaking of other dimensions,
137.
I was waiting to see how long it would take before you just jumped right in.
CNBC tells us that in some strange turn of events, Dell is being purchased by Vmware.
What?
Someone explain to me how this works.
I did, and I'm not repeating it.
Well, it wasn't on the show, so explain to the listeners how the hell this works.
Let's see.
Just don't explain it the same way that you did before the show.
I like Nate's analogy.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So
did you ever buy something and then at some point decide that it should own you instead? That's kind of like what's happening to Dell right now.
Well, so Dell owns 80% of VMware. So does it Does it still operate VMware as an independent company, like
Well,
separate books and everything?
I have no idea how the inner workings of the Dell EMC VMware thing have occurred. However,
okay, look, Michael Dell is going to be richer than rich again. So I guess
by selling his company to himself, which is what isn't that kind of what's happening here? I don't know how
he
this
sold
works.
it. First he sold it, then he bought it. Now he's going to sell it again, but he's selling it to himself.
Well, then
my head hurts.
Don't forget that part. He went private. That was huge.
So, yes, according to CNBC, because everyone's moving to the cloud and Dell doesn't feel like it's, I don't want to say they don't feel like they're viable anymore, but I guess they see that the shift to the cloud is a thing. They're going to sell Dell to VMware.
Maybe.
I'm still not sure how this works.
I'm sorry. As far as I'm concerned, it's two sinking ships crashing into each other. But if Dell sold better hardware and if VMware made better software, maybe they'd be doing okay.
Yeah, right. They're trying to make VMware out to be this cloud vendor.
We're not recording, right?
We are totally recording. They're trying to make VMware out to be this cloud vendor, and while they're absolutely a virtualization vendor, I wouldn't call them cloud.
Private cloud.
I wouldn't call them private cloud either. Private cloud is stuff like OpenStack. Does VMware even have an OpenStack competitor that's worth anything?
Nah, I don't. I mean, I don't know everything that VMware does because I choose to ignore most of them. But
I think they probably would have something similar. Although I don't know. I mean, you're asking a lot when you're comparing the two from VMware.
Yeah.
I haven't a long time either.
Like the thing that makes private cloud what it is, like the thing that actually defines private cloud is like the self-service and the automation.
And I own my own hardware, damn it.
Well, right. But I mean the thing that differentiates, I've got a virtualization box or a virtualization cluster, and I've got a private cloud, which is essentially just a managed virtualization cluster, is the self-service portal and the automation that glues it all together. Right? Unless I'm misunderstanding this. That's the way I've always understood the difference between cloud and virtualization. It's like the self-service and the automation pieces and whatnot.
Yeah, VMware is just purely virtualization software.
Yeah, I don't know that VMware has an offering in that particular space. If they do, I've missed it because I've been out of the VMware game for long enough. I don't know.
So to be clear, this is one of the options that they're considering. This isn't. This isn't the done deal.
It's not something that's happening. It's something that they're talking about. Yeah. 50 billion in debt. Wait, hold on. What's this say here? Well, helping Dell pay down some of its approximately 50 billion in debt.
Geez, well, when you manufacture a power adapter for every laptop you sell, I wonder why you're so far into debt when you do that with peripherals. Wow, frustrating. Sorry, I'm bringing frustrations into this.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't truly dislike Dell. I think that they're a good vendor in the price point that they're at. You may disagree with me. They're sort of at the bottom of the enterprise price point, and for someone who's looking for an inexpensive server, they're not a bad choice.
I would think like Micro or whatever they're called would be.
Well, yeah, okay. So I don't know if I would call. You're talking about Supermicro, yeah.
Supermicro, yeah. Well, Supermicro is more of a powerhouse these days.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them enterprise.
I don't know. I mean, they're definitely not the same level as what Dell is, but they're absolutely making inroads. But I'd
call them like business class, if that's a separate.
Well, I think Dell makes good servers as long as you like dumb servers, right? So I mean, look, we went through this and we opted to stick with Dell, and you know, except for the hiccups where Dell didn't understand how their product worked at all.
So I can't blame that as a hardware failing. I blame that as a
support failing. Right. That, well, I mean, the consulting and support came from Dell, though. So
right. But the hardware itself is still, that's what I'm arguing. The hardware itself is not terrible. I've got Dell systems that run like 7 years without issue.
Yep. Their server end hardware is long lasting. It's not cutting edge. It's some of it's interesting. Their consulting services or their understanding of how their own hardware works is sometimes a little bit questionable, but I mean, it's not
a bit frustrating is what it is.
Right. I mean, for the price, you trying to get what you pay for, right? You get a server with some interfaces and kind of a management thing that sometimes works. If you want something bigger, better, faster, more complete, then you look at, HP, IBM, Cisco. I mean, those guys have these fully centralized managed platforms that do all sorts of craziness, but you pay for it.
Yep, absolutely. No, I mean, Dell will happily sell you a rack of fully managed hardware with VMware vSphere running on it. I forget what they call it now. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like 100% managed by Dell.
Oh.
They proposed it to us, and it scared me. Mainly because I knew that Dell, EMC, and VMware were all owned by the same company. And it's like, oh, good. So my entire stack gets to be owned by the same company. This seems like
Dell
a bad
servers.
move.
Okay, I could live with that. EMC, garbage. VMware, no thank you.
Yeah.
So 1 out of 3 is still failing. 1 out of 3 is still failing.
Whatever happened to them taking on Sonicwall? Has it changed? Because I remember working with Sonicwall and just like, I don't know, they never seemed to really change when they were their own company. Dell bought them, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? And I don't feel like I've really heard anything, like new and boisterous about Sonicwall.
Dell bought Sonicwall?
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Sonicwall is still in business?
Yeah, I didn't know Sonicwall was still around.
Yeah, there's when I was working at places I used to work at, that was redundant. We bought one of their products and then all of a sudden became Dell. I was like, wait, what's happening? My
I didn't know it was Dell. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did know Sonicwall
was just going.
No, I did know Sonicwall was still around. I just the last Sonicwall I saw was just a little Soho or a SMB Sonicwall.
Sorry guys for that. Like those that like Sonicwall, I'm not a fan.
Well, it's good for it's okay for SMB, but if you want to like
better products from SMB, like look at Fortinet. I mean, despite they're made in China.
You are such a Fortinet.
I love Fortinet.
Leader.
Wonderful. It makes me happy. As a millennial, I like a firewall that I can control with my smartphone. Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Smart, yeah.
Get off my lawn. So anyway, did you hear that the robots are taking over?
So a slight tangent, and this is mainly just because in the sidebar on the article we're about to read, there's this nice little headline. Elon Musk sells $3.5 million worth of flamethrowers in a day.
So I saw this yesterday.
The world is going to end. There are going to be robots in Europe taking jobs and wielding flamethrowers.
Okay, so all right, let's explore that tangent. Okay, so first of all, the flamethrowers are $500 a piece, and they're sold by the Boring Company. Okay,
boring? That doesn't sound boring at all. It's a flamethrower.
So I thought yesterday when I saw this, or 2 days ago rather, when I saw this, I thought Elon's Twitter account had been hacked and taken over. Go and look at all of his tweets from like 2 days ago. It's hysterical. And then, like, what made me realize it was him was a video of him with the flamethrower. Okay, that was the first thing. Then I went to the Boring Company website, and it reads like an April Fool's joke.
I just
it was
can't
so
figure
bad.
I can't figure out why Elon Musk wants to sell flamethrowers. Like, what was the reasoning behind it? All of a sudden, I see this headline that Elon Musk has developed an affordable flamethrower. I'm like, wait, what?
Let me see if I can find the. Oh, where is it?
It's only wow.
He started going on and on about zombie apocalypse and like all this other stuff. It was kind of awesome. Let's see. Oh, here you go. So it's a $500 pre-order, right? And the first bullet point is fire extinguisher sold separately. Hang on. In parentheses after that, it says for exorbitant amounts of money.
You saw the last bullet point, right? That one's pretty good too.
May not be used on Boring Company decorative lacquered hay bales or Boring Company dockside munitions warehouses. Right? And then underneath the flamethrower is the Boring Company fire extinguisher for $30. Buy an overpriced Boring Company fire extinguisher. You can definitely buy one for less elsewhere, but this one comes with a cool sticker and the button is conveniently right above. Meaning the pre-order button. Look,
so you're right. That does sound like an April Fool's joke.
It does. I didn't know what to do with it.
You should have ordered a flamethrower and a fire extinguisher.
So wait. Oh, I did not know this. Okay, so hang on. Let's see. Oh, we got to put this article is really good.
It has to go up.
So the maverick businessman who last week secured a pay deal that could see him collect $55 billion had pledged that if the Boring Company sold 50,000 baseball caps at $20 each, he would start selling flamethrowers. The caps sold out, and Musk started selling $500 flamethrowers on Sunday, tweeting, "Guaranteed to liven up any party."
So this is like Elon Musk on a bet is selling flamethrowers. That's what this is.
He goes, also, I want to be clear that a flamethrower is a super terrible idea. Definitely don't buy one unless you like fun.
Wow.
The rumor that I'm secretly creating a zombie apocalypse to generate demand for flamethrowers is completely false. You'd need millions of zombies for a so-called apocalypse anyway. Where would I even get a factory big enough to make so many?
I don't think that's where zombies come from.
Oh God!
Just saying. Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
So there was an article we were about to read before I distracted us with flamethrowers and Elon Musk.
So going in the notes. You're welcome,
Absolutely.
Everybody.
People need to know the truth.
All right, so that goes after that one. And no.
So while you're doing that, the Guardian reports that automation is to take 1 in 3 jobs in the UK's Northern Centres report. Yeah, report finds. Okay, Northern Centres report finds. English is hard, folks. Commas. They mean something. Anyway.
Your. Sorry.
Yeah, that's not a comma. That's an apostrophe.
Apostrophe, yes.
Yeah. So.
Never mind. Supertext versus...
So anyway, apparently robots in various plants and whatnot are set to start taking jobs away from actual human beings.
They took our jobs.
You had to do that, didn't you?
I did.
So surprise, surprise, right? We're going to automate things and less people are going to have to do jobs.
So I read this article in 1980, I think.
Yeah. So
and again in 1985 and 1990.
Again in
1995.
I read it in 2000.
So I mainly included this because I don't buy the argument that automating plants is going to put everybody out of jobs.
Oh, I absolutely buy it, and I hope it happens.
Well, no, I don't. Okay, so trying to think of how to word that in a better way. It's going to, so the more automation there is, the more people are freed up to do better things, is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Hmm?
So
initially
the doom and gloom is what I'm not buying into.
Right. Well, they're not completely wrong. So initially automation tends to hurt because people are out of jobs and older workers don't tend to, well, it seems like, and I'd have to, I mean, this is off the cuff. This is not backed by science, blah, 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 blah.
We don't need science. This is
generally speaking, an older worker is not going to go back and find a new vocation, right? It's just not going to happen. That said, my guess would be that the older, more experienced workers tend to be the ones that end up staying on and doing supervisory stuff to make sure that things are coming out the right way.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
And I mean, if you look at the picture in this job, like as a human, do you really want to be doing this?
I mean, the picture at the top here with the robots that are like welding and grinding and cutting and
exactly right. Like, look, it's one thing to do it because you enjoy it and it's fun. It's a totally different thing.
You're saying this to the guy who in his garage has a welder and several grinders.
No. But you miss my point. You do it because it's fun.
Yeah, right.
You want to do it every day, and if you don't eat.
Yeah, probably not.
Right. So like,
because I'm just not that good at it.
Automation tends to take the low paying, and this is a problem as well because it's the low paying stuff, but it tends to take the low paying manual labor jobs.
Yep. Right.
So now the problem, and they pointed out a little bit in the article, is that, and there's another area that they're automating some stuff that, you know, only 18% of the jobs are being taken. Let's see. Outside of south of England, 1 in 4 jobs are at risk of being replaced by advances in technology, much higher than the 18% average for wealthier locations closer to London.
That doesn't sound like 1 in 3 to me. 18% is not 1 in 3.
No, 18% average is the wealthy locations in London. They say 1 in 4 out at the south, outside of the south of England.
That's still not 1 in 3. The title of the article was 1 in 3 jobs.
Oh, okay. I mean,
freaking liars.
I know. Look,
that's what that is. We're exaggerated to draw people in, and now we're talking about it on our podcast.
Low-paying manual labor jobs are somewhat easier to automate in a lot of cases. And it adversely impacts low-income areas, and I'm not sure how to fix that, right? So, I will agree with that. I will agree with that part. Definitely sucks.
There is a need for the gas station attendant who has been put out of a job by,
electric cars.
No, well, yeah, that. But I was thinking more of the self-service gas stations where you can pull up and pump your own damn gas. So,
well, yeah, but I mean that's not really automation doing that. That's
no, it's not automation, but it's the same basic.
No, I get what you're saying.
There are some states in the U.S. that you still can't pump your own gas because they don't want to lose those jobs.
Sure. No, agreed. I get what you're saying. I just think, like, I don't know what the solution is. I do know that the end game is that everything's automated and we can kind of do what we want to and live and not have to worry about this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how long. Dude, I watched Star Trek. I watched Star Trek. We can be like in spaceships fighting aliens.
Yeah, and in the 90s they told us we were going to have flying cars by now. So
no, you can't have a flying car until it's fully automatic because people are stupid and don't put gas in the car.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
The flying car in Back to the Future was not automatic.
I know. Life has lied to us.
2015, wasn't it? 2015 that they went ahead to?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, we're well beyond that. I don't feel like we have any flying cars yet. I do have a computer in my pocket now, though, which I didn't in the past.
Is that a computer in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
Nope, it's totally a computer in my pocket.
I couldn't resist.
I got one on my wrist, and in my and on my belt loop.
Does the one on your wrist track you when you're working out?
If I tell it to, yes.
Oh, good. Well, you're not a soldier though, so you don't tie into the next article
that you know of.
That I know of. You could be some secretive soldier.
I think the takeaway from this is automation is good, but it adversely, in fact, impacts certain areas.
Sure.
And Dustin is working on a solution.
Oh, good. Will you have that by the next
show? So if you don't have a solution by the next show, Dustin is the person to come after. I know he's working diligently on it, though.
You got it.
Have you tasked him with that? Is that
Just did?
Just
did it.
This is great.
All right.
So glad I don't work for you. Hey, can you find a cure for world hunger? No. Well, it's on your review. Get it done.
All right. I can't find a cure for world hunger, but I can find
solution.
I can find all those secret military bases.
Yeah. So NPR has this really, I mean, I was laughing at this article because I laugh at the worst things. So you've got fitness trackers, right? Jason's got one on his wrist. I have one. Hold on, in my pocket here.
I have one lost somewhere.
My old Misfit Flash here. You can all see how far along, halfway in my goal here.
My Misfit's around here somewhere.
Yeah. So apparently, and I'm not sure why, I don't think we solved this, but for some reason, a lot of soldiers are using an app called Stravia.
No, I did solve this. Strava is the back end for or feeds a lot of data from other apps. So like Fitbit feeds data to Strava.
So like my Misfit could be feeding data to Strava. I don't know.
It's possible.
It could. Okay.
Possible.
So apparently Strava had released this heat map of like where data was coming from. Is that how this works? You guys read this article more thoroughly than I did. At least I hope you did.
They released a bunch of data. Computer. Yeah, they released a ton of data on, I guess all the GPS data that they had. They built a heat map to kind of represent all the exercise activities all over the world for the stuff that they track.
This was meant to be just like a, hey, look at this neat thing we can do. And it turned out that like all over the Middle East, it's like all these hotspots, which, you know, maybe could be military activity, which is kind of a problem, you know, for the military, which may have secret or may have soldiers in places where that's not publicly known.
It's cool. So you can see the heat map. I sent you the link.
Oh yes, I see. It looks like this continent is covered in lava.
East Coast does so much more exercise than West Coast, man.
Yeah, I see.
I'm sorry, eastern side of the U.S. has a lot more exercise than the western. Probably because there's more people.
You sent is like Italy.
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. The picture that Slack put into the the picture that Slack put in.
Oh, that Slack put in. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, there you go.
Yeah. What I find really funny is the
this is really neat.
There's a bunch of tracks that like go across the ocean. Which makes
awesome.
No sense whatsoever.
They're swimmers.
Wow.
Wow, the whole eastern side of the US is just lit up.
Yeah, and
then California.
Is that so that's Italy. So that whole area is like lit up way more than the US.
If you look off the coast of I guess that's South Carolina, North Carolina, and go way out east, you see this little island
dot out there that like there's a couple little trails that go out to.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's like an oil rig in the middle of the Pacific,
it's a boat.
In the middle of the Atlantic. That is weird.
Isn't that weird?
What
the hell is
Hawaii's off of California, right? So that can't be there.
Oh, it's an island. It's got to be an island of some sort. I was going to say, I wonder if it's like
inhabited island, or
I would imagine so, because if you zoom in really
close, it's not inhabited. There's just a whole bunch of fitness trackers that jump around on the island.
What's this?
Can I turn map?
Labels.
We're going to spend the rest of the podcast trying to figure out where the most fitness is happening.
Is this another base? There's an airport. No, it's too big to be a base.
Oh, it turned it off.
Wow.
Where did it go?
I don't know what this is.
This is odd.
Yeah.
Hamilton. Oh, it's St. George's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Weird little island. Anyway.
Keep zooming out. Zoom out.
We are all about the tangents tonight, guys.
We are.
All about the tangents.
This is a cool map, though. I like it.
Yes, it is.
What I like even more is that when I pan around this map, every now and then there's like an error, and it shows me my Google Hangout session within the map. Because Chrome is awesome.
I think they should update this to make it a pew pew map.
Pew pew.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on, you guys don't know what pew pew map is?
No.
The security maps where they show you active attacks.
Oh yeah, where it goes. I got.
Oh, I get it.
So if you zoom all the way down,
wow,
you can see like the South Pole, and there's a couple active areas there.
I'm just looking at Africa, and I'll just say the map is very telling about the state of Africa.
Down in Africa. Little Toto.
All right. Anyway.
Really? No comment on that? Come on.
All right. Let's get that out of here before it distracts us more.
Yes, it's pretty distracting. Okay, so back to the news stuff. So yeah, the soldiers are being found based on freaking Stravian data. Strava.
Yeah, so I mean it's a little late, but now they're going now the Pentagon is like, maybe we shouldn't be using that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
informing the soldiers to please stop.
You think? Don't use that thing that tracks your movements. Brilliant.
No comment.
So
do you have a Lenovo laptop?
Nope.
No, thank you. I don't want one.
I don't have a Lenovo laptop. Wasn't it Lenovo that had like malware built into the BIOS?
Yes.
Yes.
Like last year or something.
Yep. Yep. Lenovo.
Well, now apparently, so some Lenovos, especially enterprise-grade Lenovos, have this like fingerprint reader that has some kind of a built-in password database or password manager that you can unlock with your fingerprint.
Cool.
Apparently, that was a bad idea. I'm trying to find the details here. So what's the rub here? There's like a hard-coded password somewhere that actually unlocks the
There's a hard-coded password in the password manager, and apparently the encryption that they used is poor.
So is the hard-coded password like a hash of your fingerprint?
No, it's probably.
It's like password 123, and it unlocks it when you.
Yeah, probably something along those lines. They didn't go into all the details in that, but look, there's lots of good password managers out there, including free ones.
Yep.
Don't trust one that your laptop manufacturer sends you. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean the problem I see with this in general is like, okay, my password is locked in a vault that is tied to my hardware manufacturer. What if one day I decide I don't like my Lenovo laptop anymore and I want to run, I don't know, a MacBook or a Dell or whatever? Now, what happens to your passwords? You have to just like export them and put them back into another.
You could.
Yeah.
It's clearing my throat, sorry. Yeah, no, you could.
That's okay. I'm having a beer fail.
Beer fail?
What's beer fail? Fortunately, my microphone was off when I sort of yelped in surprise that all this beer came foaming out.
It's excited to see you. The beer one with you.
And I'm excited to drink it.
Well, good. That's what beer is for, drinking. So yeah, if you have a Lenovo machine and you're using the fingerprint reader password safe, you may want to stop.
And you're not on Windows 10.
Not on Windows 10. Oh, did they somehow fix this on Windows 10? Oh, it does say there is a patch available, so that's great.
Patch available, but it's not affecting any of the versions on Windows 10. Only 7, 8, and 8.1. I guess Vista and XP are okay too. I mean, you know.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
How does that work? That it's not affecting Windows 10?
Either it's not available on Windows 10.
It's probably not available for Windows 10.
That's what it is.
It's probably not something like super like, oh, Windows 10 solves it because it doesn't allow the hard-coded password to work, or, you know.
Guys, we could make this article really like, you know, this release could be very minor. We could just say that it doesn't affect Windows 10, which is the most of our customers. It's okay.
Yeah.
Specifically put that in there.
Okay, step 1, guys, stop using that password manager and get a real one. Step 2, there is no step 2. You're using a real password manager now. Get rid of the old one.
Yeah, right. Right. So I think, Dustin, did you link the next dark reading article about the MFA, the voice? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
It's from Jason. So elaborate. I didn't read it. I'm sorry.
Well, the idea behind this is to let me read the article. The title of the article: New voice MFA tool uses machine learning. Pin drop.
Machine learning.
Machine learning buzzword. Bingo. Woo!
Is it AI? Okay, go ahead.
No. It's ML. Okay, let's get it straight. This is just something that came up in Feely for dark reading. They're basically talking about using like biometrics on your voice to use it as a second factor for authentication. For I don't know what specifically. They start talking about like a human call center agent and how they can use an engine to whitelist and blacklist based on whether or not they're receiving like validity that corresponds to an actual identity, or if they're dealing with background noise or commercials, etc. They're saying that this can reduce the call handling for call centers by 55 seconds and call center operations by $1 per call, as well as reduce fraud when it comes to the quality of the calls that they're, I guess, placing or receiving.
Interesting.
Now that I've completely butchered the article.
I don't understand what it does.
I don't understand how it relates to call centers. You had me until you started talking about call centers. So voice MFA.
Right. So
I assume this means like it's another factor of authentication. So what? This is like I call my bank and they can use my voice to identify that it's me, and that somehow makes it easier for them to tell that it's me, and they don't have to ask me my social security number and like my pet's name and whatever else.
We lost Jason.
Oh no! Jason is gone.
Whoop, whoop,
He's
whoop,
been swallowed by the void.
That was a whoop 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 sound, not a.
He's now on Slack going gah and an expletive that I won't put on the show.
It's 4 letters. Which one is it? Well, anyways, it's yes, that's exactly what it is. I completely butchered the presentation on this. So this is what it's worded as, since I can't formulate words. According to Pindrop,
just read the article, man.
Which is a company that came up with what they call the deep voice engine, can recognize the repeat caller regardless of whether there is a background noise, whether they're making only short utterances, and whether they're speaking into an interactive voice system or a human call center agent. The engine uses whitelisting, blacklisting, and anomaly detection. The individual's voice is analyzed every time they call, thereby strengthening the credential with every call. The Pindrop Passport, which is the product, combines deep voice device authentication and behavior analytics to create a passive multi-factor authentication solution that call centers can use to confirm a caller's identity.
So, Jason, you closed the wrong tab, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So anyway, it's a good thing we don't record our voices and put them out on the internet every 2 weeks, right? People could be building profiles about our voices as we speak.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, look at that Adobe product that came out where they can literally produce a speech in somebody's voice by what you input into your computer. What was that called? Was that you talking about that, Jason, or was that you, Nate?
Well, they can do video and speech.
Video and speech, yeah. So they could take like a news conference that people always like dub and make fun of, like of a current president, ex-president, whatever, and actually do this in real time without having to dub. Literal, natural. I don't know how natural it is, but yeah, it's interesting. So you look at that technology, you look at this, it's like, okay, I mean, that's cool too. And if you think about the current authentication mechanisms, right? Like let's say I call my doctor's office, right? If they have caller ID, doing some type of DB lookup while it calls in, they can find who I am, probably, right? Fortunately, my doctor's office does ask for a birth date. They ask some identifiable things that I guess, is harder to get a handle on, but they're using, caller ID as a identifier, which that can be spoofed. So you're saying, okay, our voices are recorded every 2 weeks because of the podcast. Absolutely. I mean, I bet unless there's some type of, well, I guess that wouldn't matter either because are you doing it over a phone call? Yeah, I mean, I guess technically somebody could build a profile against us.
That's a shame. This reminds me of so there's a podcast by Gimlet called Homecoming. Have either of you heard it?
No.
It's like one of these series
yes.
podcasts where they're telling a story. It's actually fiction, but it's a good story. And it's like these folks that are working for a government agency and they're trying to treat soldiers to get rid of PTSD.
Yes.
Right?
I have read this.
And there's the one guy that works for the agency. Whenever he calls to his boss, they throw him into this queue where he has to like sing the Star Spangled Banner, or he has to speak for 5 seconds or whatever. And this is supposed to identify that it's him. So now we actually have that, according to this article.
Interesting.
Just reminded me of that. It's interesting. Whatever. I thought it was like hilarious when they did it on the show, and now it's like, oh yeah, now they could actually do that. It'll be like, yeah, I call my bank, and before they get me to an agent, they put me into this thing where I speak for 30 seconds, and it identifies me as me based on how I speak.
Which is interesting. I mean, they talk about in the article about using it as a mechanism to prevent somebody from using like data that was dumped on the web to use as an identifier. Yeah. So if they said, "What's your social security number?" Well, I may have that if I looked in a dump.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting, but I don't think it's necessarily foolproof.
Yeah, I guess the question is it accurate enough that they can depend on that?
Right.
So, what's the stops? Like, I call my bank, and they ask me all the usual questions, and then after I've answered them all correctly, they say, we think you answered all the questions right, but we don't think it's you because your voice imprint doesn't match. Like, it's going to take one guy screaming, "Let me into my freaking account," rah, 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 for that all to fall apart. Don't you think?
Social engineering.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not even social engineering. What if it really did identify me wrong and it thinks I'm not me? All of a sudden, I can't get into my bank?
It's a computer. It's infallible. Shush.
Infallible. Right. Speaking of infallible,
you must be talking about Intel.
Have you guys heard about this Spectre thing? I mean, it's like totally not news, right?
Yeah.
What a trash fire. That's how I'm referring to Spectre and Meltdown right now. And the response is
fire. Okay.
Trash fire. Yeah. Dumpster fire, trash fire, pick one.
Party.
So, yeah, you should totally patch. Oh, wait, don't patch, because the patches might break your machines. But you should patch because there's a security vulnerability. But if you patch, your machines might not boot anymore. But if your processor manufacturer releases a patch, Microsoft might revoke the patch?
No, well, wait. Couldn't this all be fixed? Could this be fixed with like a switch or something? Like, something you turn on, turn off?
Yeah.
About that yet?
Absolutely. There's like a switch on the front of your server, which turns it off. Then the problem is gone. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna disable mine right now. I'll be back in a minute.
Wow, you're going faster now that you've disabled it. The Spectre turned it off and on patch because attackers are dumb and they'll never figure that one out.
Registry, come on, who uses those?
So Jason, I think this is your article. Do you want to go into some detail here?
There's not a ton of detail. I kind of responded to the first thing I thought was an emergency patch to disable the Spectre fix.
Yeah, disable the fix with the patch because the fix is breaking the stuff and the patch and the things.
I get it. I understand. But you've just made it easy for an attacker to do the same thing. So, oh no, they patched against Spectre. I'll just my first step of my attack will be to disable the patch. So this is going to confuse people really, really bad because normally when you get infected with something, your computer slows down.
In this case, it'll speed up.
My game is running too slow. Hold on, let me turn this. It's like the turbo button. Right?
That's awesome.
The game's the turbo button on the case. Same.
Yes, I remember the turbo button because when you'd load up Nibble and the snakes would be going too fast, you could turn the turbo off. or gorillas.
Guys, we're getting too much work done today. Turn the patch back on, okay?
Yeah.
Excel's moving too fast. Wait, Windows does more than Excel. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't.
I play a lot of games on a Windows computer that I can't play on a Mac or Linux. I've tried.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
DirectX is directly in my brain. OpenGL is still failing to catch up. Or is it more the engines that how they're written? Are the engine's just not written to be more cross-platform capable? You have OpenGL, you have DirectX.
OpenGL is more significantly more cross-platform than DirectX. DirectX is Windows, 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 and Windows. OpenGL will run on Mac, Windows, and Linux.
Does it work on Windows?
Why is there a push towards OpenGL? I never understood that.
OpenGL runs on Windows. Because DirectX on a Windows machine is absolutely spectacular. They've done an amazing job with it. A little shaky at the beginning, but they got really good because they can do all this stuff to hook into the hardware directly and do all sorts of neat things. Can't do that necessarily with OpenGL because you don't have people like the OpenGL stuff is effectively open source. So when they write it, they don't have Windows internals. Like they don't have the access that you would with a DirectX. DirectX can use all sorts of secret, APIs and stuff to do things.
I remember back in the day, might have been late 90s, early 2000s, so somewhere around when DirectX became a real thing. There was this webpage you could go to that used DirectX hardware calls to do like all these crazy animations on the screen. And the whole thing loaded almost instantaneously because the actual binary that was running it was like a couple K. Because it was able to basically call to the DirectX engine on your machine and make your video card do these things without having to actually have any of that graphics encoded into the binary. Which at the time, like now it's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It's using hardware calls. At the time, that was like revolutionary crap, right? This is like in the days when Flash was still budding. And like you'd open up this crazy Flash application over your 33.6 modem and it would take you 20 minutes to download a web page. It was pretty cool stuff. I take it neither of you remember this. I know Dustin won't.
I remember back in the day, back when you downloaded your porn and it took 30 minutes and damn it, you were going to like it and be completely upset when halfway through it crashed and you were like, no, I just get to the good part.
Dang it.
Line by line on a photo. I remember that. Dude.
The old interleaved JPEGs.
Yep.
Those were the days.
Yep.
People had more appreciation for what they could get on the internet then because it took you forever to get.
Well, I don't know that that's true, but all right. I think we've run out of news.
That's all the news stuff. We're gonna do like the thing.
Your beer is purple.
Indeed, it is.
Oh.
This is awesome stuff, isn't it?
I'm jelly.
Young's Double Chocolate Stout, one of the best chocolate stouts I've ever had.
I like chocolate stout.
It's even better on tap, but it's okay out of a bottle.
Young's is pretty good. Rogue had a good double chocolate stout as well.
Yes, Rogue has a very good chocolate stout.
But Young's is
good stuff. For 4 of these, it cost me like $12.
I make a pretty mean chocolate stout too. So.
Oh yeah. Saying. I don't know that I've had your chocolate stout.
Neither have I.
I didn't even know you were brewing again.
I need to start brewing again, but yes, I have done chocolate stout multiple times. The best part about brewing a chocolate stout, hands down, is that when I'm done, my wife takes the leftover grain, grinds it up, and makes stuff out of it, and it's all infused with chocolate.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Everything would be better with chocolate. Sort of like bacon.
Yeah.
Chocolate bacon.
Chocolate. Someone has done this. You can get chocolate covered bacon.
It is really good, but it's very rich. You can only
have
a trip.
I have a flying chocolate pig that has bacon in it. And a really good backstory that I won't repeat on there.
Oh yes, I think I do remember this story. It was from when we worked together, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Flying pigs and things.
Yep.
I remember. In fact, yeah, the stories even come back to me now. Good thing you didn't say it on the air.
Yeah. It's a story worth knowing.
Only if you know the people involved, though. Otherwise, it's really not all that interesting.
Yeah. I still think it's interesting. Anyway, when pigs fly.
When pigs fly.
All right.
I don't know that we have any announcements tonight because, to be honest, I didn't put any thought into announcements.
LV Hackers is...
Oh, yes. LV Hackers is coming next week.
Is it next week?
The 7th.
Next week. I might make it this time.
You better.
I because I have hardly ever made it. Last couple times.
You all need to make it.
I'd like to.
You can do it. You can do it.
All you listener folks, you should make it too.
Yes. You've been early assigned.
I'm totally going to run out of bandwidth on my phone soon. Great. Love it.
Good. Well, then you just plug in the other phone, right? You crack it open.
This isn't cable modems, Nate.
So, announcements aside, you guys been up to anything fun or just busy working?
Fun. Played D&D.
That's cool.
Yeah?
That's pretty much it. Yep, that's it. I've been playing Skyrim. You know, remember that game that came out like 12 years ago?
Yeah.
I finally got around to it.
We haven't gamed in a while because our DM broke his ankle.
He did?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No. I thought
Remember it snowed. It snowed like around Christmas time. I think the week between Christmas and New Year's, it was like a snowy, icy storm.
He didn't have his cleats on?
I guess. He fell on the sidewalk and broke his ankle.
Hey.
Well, he should be wearing his ice cleats.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's Pennsylvania.
Well, that sucks. Hope he feels better.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's done better. He was back at work. We had some interviews to do, and he was in for them, so I got to see him then. Yeah, he's on crutches, but he's doing okay.
I will say, though, breaking your ankle as an excuse for not playing D&D seems a little weird since all you do is sit around and talk.
Yeah, I think he's just like overworked because he's doing work from home and he can't move around like he needs to and whatever. There's no reason to have an extra level of stress in his life while he's trying to.
I got it. You guys don't want a cranky DM that wipes the party.
Well, yeah. That's probably part of it.
Yeah. Announcements. Do I have any announcements? Nope. I got nothing.
Nope. I don't think I have anything either, other than LV Hackers.
Beer is wonderful. That's my announcement.
That's a good announcement.
Indeed.
That's a good one. Sorry, guys. I'm tired. Didn't sleep well last night.
What is this?
Over the weekend, I got to do some deep in, though. That was fun.
Yes, I saw you tweeted about it.
I do the Twitter stuff while I'm on the trail. Yeah. So I run I've sort of started putting a little more attention into. I have a YouTube channel that I publish a lot of Jeep things on. And, well, I mentioned on our last show the off-road network thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the three of us that are considered founders on the off-road network had gotten together to go out and actually have, a Jeep run together, so we get footage together, so that it sort of tied the channel together.
Mm-hmm.
So that was last weekend. It was Saturday. It's a pretty good day. We had fun.
It's cool.
Nobody broke anything. Nobody got stuck. Nobody
broke anything.
Yeah, it was a fun day.
Good deal. No extra welding necessary.
No extra welding necessary.
Nice.
Yep. I won't go too in depth into the off-road scene on our Sysadmin podcast because I don't know that anybody that's... I seem to be in the minority of people in IT that also enjoy outdoor motorsports. Or off-road motorsports anyway. So, yeah. It was a good weekend. Good time.
Cool. And not a whole lot on my end. Got to unwind a little bit and not be running around like normal, but
that's always good.
Yeah,
it is good.
We can fix that.
Yeah, don't tell your boss that you don't have enough to do. Suddenly you will. What's that? You had time to spend with your wife? No.
Oh. That was close.
Did you just spill a beer all over your computer?
I almost broke my monitor.
Did you almost break your monitor?
I did. I got excited to hit the no button, and instead I smacked my beer mug, and it smacked into the screen. The handle.
Don't do that.
No. There we go.
You damn button.
I used to have an easy button, but it disappeared.
I need to find something for the soundboard that counteracts the no. This doesn't quite do it.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Kaboom.
I don't know. I think that fits in really well with I almost broke my monitor.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, yeah.
So going back to the previous conversation, I am the you have to spend time with your family, get the hell off your computer, stop working so damn hard type of manager. So
he is a good. Yeah. I can vouch, and I'm not just saying that because he's on the podcast. He's pretty flexible.
Yeah,
right. I guess you can keep working this week.
Thanks. I have a review coming up. I mean,
No, I'm really big on because I was there. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, that's because we've both worked for the sort of place where it's like, what? You can't have a life. You work for me,
right?
And we know that sucks.
What do you mean? What do you mean you spent time with your family? What? No. Get back on the computer.
There's an ATM network to fix. Get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't relate to your funness. I mean, I can, but in a different manner.
Sure. All right, well, then I guess we'll get on into the main topic. That means I got to play the transition again, don't I? It seems like we're boring this week. Sorry, guys.
2018 is hard.
Play the thing.
So we're going to talk all about NIDs and NIPs tonight.
NIDs and NIPs with a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah. So recently, I sat through a short presentation of a company trying to sell us an IDS. I guess you'd call it an IDS, which used data from Bro and put it into Splunk, which would give you a nice little report and whatnot. And I don't know. It seemed like it might be a decent topic for the show. I know it's not quite sysadmin. It's more like network admin, but it's still relevant. It's still relevant, right?
Absolutely.
So it would had a threat feed associated with it?
There was no threat feed. At least not that they told us about.
Oh.
No, so I mean this particular product, and I don't have the name of it in front of me. It didn't look terrible, but it was basically like an interpreter, right? It would take the output of Bro, and it would filter out the stuff that maybe you didn't care about, and then it would output it into something that you could then pull into Splunk. And then there was an app for Splunk that would take that and make pretty graphs and good reports and whatever.
So like a SIM?
Well, Splunk is a SIM.
No, Splunk is not a SIM.
Sure it is.
No, it's not.
No? Okay,
No.
well, whatever. I guess it's a SIM then. I've heard Splunk referred to as a SIM.
People use Splunk as a SIM, but Splunk
it's not
is not. It is not a SIM.
Okay.
Splunk is a log management tool. SIMs are different.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Splunk seems to be more than a log management tool nowadays. Because they got to keep up with the market.
No, I think they're by far one of the best log management tools out there. But they're not a security. I mean, a SIM is much more than just log management.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is yes, yeah, definitely pretty graphs.
I like graphs.
Splunk does graphs. It's a SIM.
Look, red light, green light, cup of coffee.
Yes. So anyway, since we do have some network chops between the three of us, some of us more than others, I figured this might be something we could elaborate on. So, whatever. I see it as there are several types of network inspection tools or packet capture tools or whatever, and I thought we'd just go into the differences between them. So, I don't know, Jason, you have any commentary before we go into the tools?
No,
being the network guru among us.
No, I have not yet learned how to float, so I can't be considered a guru yet. Working on it though.
Okay, so you have to be able to do the whole.
The latest advice I got was, as long as I can throw myself at the ground and miss, I should be okay.
Yes, right. So anyway, there are packet capture tools like Snort. I guess that's what you call Snort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Snort. I guess Snort is an IDS in itself, isn't it? Because there's pattern-based matching, and it's not.
Yes.
It's not just packet capture.
Snort is, Snort is intended to be an IDS.
Well, yeah. IPS, IDS, it's interchangeable for some of the functionality it has, right? I mean, at its core, it's an IDS, but it can also be an IPS, depending on how you integrate it.
Yeah, so
okay,
I guess
that
would be a good place
to
start. Yeah, what's the difference?
The difference between an IDS and an IPS is actually much simpler than it sounds. So an IDS is an intrusion detection system, and an IPS is an intrusion prevention system. One is active and one is passive. So an IDS allows all the traffic to go through and says, "Hey, something bad just happened. It's over there. I just saw it. It went through.
It happened 10 more times. Here's the 10 alerts."
Yeah. Wait, here's another one. Oh, there's another. And it just keeps tossing them at you. An IPS is the only way you can do an IPS is inline. And as the packets pass through the IPS, it will reassemble them. It will inspect them, and it will determine whether or not that packet is allowed. And if it is not, it will drop it on the floor right there and send you an alert that says, "Bad thing happened. Totally stopped it. I'm awesome."
Or nothing at all.
or to let it go through and you won't know anything. But it's active versus passive or active versus I guess passive. So it's a actively defending you, or it's just telling you like, "Hey, bad things are happening. You should probably go look at that."
And now you can use an IPS as a monitoring tool too, and not enforce anything.
Right. You can also set up an IDS as a hybrid per se, sure, where once the first packet goes through, it sees it and says, "Oh, bad thing. I'm going to block that from now on." And as long as that first packet doesn't completely own you, you'll be okay.
Right. So it's more of a reactive thing than a preventative thing.
Yes.
Right. So what might be the reasons why you would use an IDS versus an IPS?
So an IPS can be, so Generally speaking, when you're dealing with an IPS, you don't want any false positives. Every single false positive that you have in an IPS drops legitimate traffic.
Yeah.
So IPSs tend to be a little bit looser, where they'll let bad traffic go by because they're not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas an IDS, you can have false positives. Of course, that tends to mean that you have a lot more alerts, but you don't block any traffic. At least you usually don't block any traffic.
Now, you could, as a reaction, be blocking things at a firewall level or something with an IDS.
Yep.
Right. So what about throughput for an IPS? Isn't that a possible caveat there?
Well, throughput on both of them is a caveat, because with throughput on an IPS, every single packet that goes through has to be reassembled, inspected, and passed on. If you want to do line speed, you typically pay more. In an IDS, it's the same problem, except that when you exceed the amount of bandwidth available, it just drops packets, it drops inspecting those packets. So you don't actually impact the traffic, though. An IPS, you'll actually impact the traffic. If it can't keep up, it slows down. Everything slows down, and you end up potentially having packet loss as well, depending on how the IPS is set up.
And that's a bad thing. We don't want to lose packets. Packets are important. They have all the data in them.
No, and you would think putting a bucket underneath your IPS, you could catch them and maybe feed them back in, but it doesn't work. I tried.
That is a problem.
Indeed. Packets on the floor is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, packets on the floor, people are going to trip over them. The cleaning people have trouble cleaning them up.
Yeah, I think Disturbed has a song like that. Let the packets hit the floor.
The packets hit
they do. It's a pretty popular one. Yeah. So what about Netflow data? Like, how does that... I don't know much about Netflow or what it does or what sort of data you get out of it. Can you guys just elaborate on what Netflow is?
Go ahead, Jason.
You go.
I'm going to do a lot of talking tonight. Okay, so Netflow, basically... Yeah, so where a packet capture is every single packet, a Netflow identifies all of the packets associated with a stream and gives you statistics on that stream. So you may not know exactly what each packet contains, but you'll know average size of the packets, how many packets went through for a stream, the source and destination. You can do some categorization on that traffic. Netflow comes in really handy to identify what's going on your network without actually getting into the deep packet inspection aspects of things.
Let me tell you something, Jason. That's probably the easiest way I've ever heard somebody explain that. Because when you ask people what is Netflow, I mean, I've heard so many variations of it that I don't understand.
It's the net and the flow and the.
You can do traffic statistics, like, oh, okay, so like interface statistics. Well, no, more than that.
Yeah,
okay.
Netflow can get you can get very, very complicated with it if you want to, and sometimes it's hard to set it up. And because of what Netflow is and how it works, not all devices and interfaces support it. For instance, the Cisco 6500 series supports like this weird... It doesn't quite support Netflow. You could do some stuff with it, but not everything is supported on it. And like there's all these different caveats. So the newer hardware tends to support it quite well, because it's... My understanding is that it can be a little bit processor intensive in order to do it, and it takes up a bunch of memory to actually like keep track of all the different flows and put out stats on them.
Do you think you would ever see an ASIC processor in a Cisco switch?
Well, I think the newer Ciscos use ASICs for some of this now, because they, you do have to keep track of a lot of that information already. You have to know which packets are with which flow, depending on the features that are set up in the device. So some of it's already being handled. What you're adding to it in addition is some statistical analysis of that, number of packets, max packet, min packet size, some of the source and destination stuff. So it's a lot of the stuff you think would already exist there, but there's a bunch of statistical stuff that goes along with it that doesn't fit in the realm of an ASIC and takes up memory. So it used to be that, the idea was to make it as fast as possible to get the maximum amount of traffic through the device. Now, since things are pretty quick on their own, you've got some speed left over that you can use or some CPU left over that you can use for other things. And memory is becoming cheap. What's that?
Like a wireless controller?
Yeah, let's stick wireless controllers and everything.
Good idea. So, for folks who may not be up to speed on what an ASIC is, can you explain what that is and why it helps?
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's see what you give this a stab.
I will use my Fortinet hat.
Where's that mobile app?
There is a mobile app for the hat, yeah. So an ASIC processor is, for what I've seen it in firewalls, right? We can talk about Fortinets here for a second. They really leverage ASIC processors for identifying traffic on what type of traffic it is, not like just TCP, UDP, HTTPS, protocol specific. They actually try to match it to a signature. So like, let's say some popular social app is running across your network, they can identify based on the pattern, based on obviously DNS lookups, based on IP addresses, based on protocols used, they can identify an application. The cool thing about that is if you are able to identify an application, you can enforce policies around that, and you can do it in many different ways. Other places use it where they're using the processor for mining Bitcoin. I mean,
what does ASIC stand for?
Application specific something circuit.
Oh, I see. Integrated.
Integrated, yeah. I mean, you got the hard part. You screwed up the easy part.
You screwed up the. I'm like he doesn't know it, so it can't.
Google tells me. Google tells the first hit. Google tells me that it stands for the Australian Securities and Investments Commission.
Damn it! I knew.
That's in all the routers. What?
No, it's a application specific integrated circuit. So think of it as the
master processor for 386 days.
It's like a CPU.
I was just gonna say this is like a coprocessor.
Sort of.
It's doing your routing or your firewalling or your main core OS.
Well,
this is like an extra processor.
No. It is. No? It is that. Okay. So it's not it's a coprocessor only so much as that a coprocessor was specifically designed to do certain operations, right? So typically you have like a math coprocessor, which was specific to math, but was still a very general processor. And
I've got a TX, baby.
An ASIC will be more specific than that. So you'll have an ASIC that's designed to move Ethernet frames. Yep. That's all it does. That's all it will ever do.
This is why when you have cryptocurrency miners, they have an ASIC, but the ASIC isn't the same sort of ASIC as you'd find in your router because it's like a crypto-specific ASIC.
Right.
It's programmed, I guess, in a way, or it's constructed
a little more.
There are some ASICs that you can modify the programming slightly. Yep. The underlying architecture of an ASIC, the more that is essentially hard coded in the hardware itself, the faster that ASIC will be. So the more it has to go back and look at the programming to do something, the slower it is. Right. So in a Bitcoin miner, the ASICs are programmable because Bitcoin is not a static thing per se. So at least some of it has to be programmable. In a router, a lot of them have at least some programming capabilities now, but they're very specific to what they do. So again, like an ASIC on an Ethernet switch is designed specifically to pass frames on the switch. Right. That's all it does. It'll use additional hardware, memory registers and whatnot to keep records of things. but it's designed like you're not gonna be able to go to an ASIC and say like, I know you're doing Ethernet, but now I want you to pass ATM frames or ATM cells, or IP packets. Like that's not going to happen because it's not designed to do that.
Cool.
So think of it like it's like a GPU.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like a GPU might be considered an ASIC.
Yeah, close.
Close.
GPUs are they're using for more things now, but I mean they were designed for graphics, coprocessors,
right?
Math coprocessors, that sort of stuff.
Or the whole new trend of Arduino processors on your motherboard too. I've seen that in a lot of mini ITX stuff now.
Cool. So we've covered Snort and Netflow, and I guess the core difference here, from a architecture perspective, would be Netflow is a thing that runs on your network gear, correct? This would be like running on your Cisco.
In the OS, yeah.
In the OS.
Yeah, typically.
It's not like an extra box you have on your network, where Snort would be something that's running on like an x86 processor on like a Linux box or something.
For Netflow, you do need a collector.
Well, you're right. It needs a place to put the data.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Like that machine is responsible for almost like a Splunk for Netflow, if you will. Actually, Splunk will take Netflow data, but that's digressing. But you need a collector of some sort.
But like the engine that's actually doing the Netflow, I mean, the same could be said for Snort. If you're going to store the Snort data, you need a place for it to go, whether that's a local hard drive or like a network storage box or whatever. So at its core, Netflow needs a similar thing. It needs the thing that gets the data is built into the router's operating system, but the place that it stores it is something that's like probably just a server on your network somewhere.
Yep. Right. And then Snort. Since Cisco bought them, Snort can actually run on a card in routers now. There's like a
really?
Yeah, some of the newer routers, the cards that the additional cards that you can put in are they're basically servers. They're just VMs. They're hypervisors that run a bunch of VMs.
Firewall.
Interesting.
All the ASAs, the X series.
Yeah.
With SourceFire.
So since we're all used to Snort and Netflow, of course someone new had to come into the game. Enter Bro. Do either of you know anything about Bro?
They've been around a while. I know I haven't personally used them, but I remember hearing about Bro back when I was looking into the Security Onion, which I think is still a project. It's another suite of tools.
I first heard about Bro, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago at DerbyCon. I sat in a talk about Bro, or about I think it was specifically about Bro. But I haven't really done a lot of work with it, because it's just not really in my normal wheelhouse. I've done a little bit of digging into like what it is, what it does. I installed it on my laptop just to see what the heck it is. But I got to say that I don't know much about it. So I was actually legitimately curious if either of you have done any work with Bro.
I've played with it briefly. I haven't had the time to really dig into it. I hear a lot about it. It's used
me too.
By a lot of people that are really into network monitoring. I mean, it does a lot of really neat stuff. So
from what I can tell, and part of this is from the sales pitch that I received in the presentation that I was in a few days ago. But from what I can tell, Bro does more than just log packets. It actually does a little bit of inspection on its own, right? So it can do things like tie a session together. So if the example they used was like, okay, somebody received a fish, and then they opened the link in the fish, and then from the link in the fish, they went to, this website, and the website served them malware, and then their machine downloaded the malware, and then the malware reached out to a C2 machine, or a C2 cluster or whatever, command and control that is, and did some other things and whatnot. And this was all tied together with like a unique identifier, so you could follow the whole flow of the thing, which sounded pretty darn cool. I don't know if this was all Bro or if this was part of the special sauce that this vendor had brought into the mix, but it sounded pretty neat. So I don't know. I didn't know if either of you have ever done anything that
what they're describing
that I'm describing.
Yeah, what they're describing isn't foolproof. I mean, that's sort of a sim. That's sim style events that are that you're sort of correlating things together. Like they got this email. I saw it hit their machine, and suddenly, a link that I saw inside the email was activated through a web browser, and then I saw the payload hit them. Like, you're doing sort of correlative traces. Yeah, I don't know if Bro does that natively, or if I mean, it's pretty extensible, so it's possible. But it does. I've seen or I've heard people that talk about it where Bro is actually recording all of the traffic and storing all the packets as it comes through the system, and then does a bunch of deep packet analysis later on it, and then kind of does all this statistical analysis and does alerting and everything else based on what it sees. I mean, it is pretty full featured.
Does it have a sandbox for reassembling applications or transactions? Is it similar to like what FireEye and those guys have?
I don't know.
Because I know like what we're talking about with like the total, or what he was talking about, the total timeline. Back when I was doing this, all the time as far as implementing the configuration, so both SourceFire and FireEye had solutions for that, but it involved a lot of extra components. Like if you wanted the FireEye solution, you wanted to track email, browsing, network in general, any changes on the host, it required like 4 or 5 appliances. Cisco World, there was still an agent involved, but you can run a lot of the services on the firewall that you're using for your the same hardware that you're using as a firewall and also using as a security instrument. So like I know you can pay for like a sandbox, and Fortinet does that too. Fortinet has the 40 sandbox where you can send stuff off and reassemble it. I was just wondering if they had something similar that was maybe stolen, because all these guys do it now. I mean, it's crazy. When it first came out, I couldn't believe how cool it was. Like literally, back when I used to really like FireEye, I mean, they're still cool. They have a good security team. I just don't know where they're going anymore. They had a dedicated sandbox appliance, and you could actually take like samples of things that you can get from any of their other products or even other formats and import them through a standard format, and actually reassemble something on custom images of machines. So you can create your own like Amazon AMIs, right? Amazon machine images, or VMware virtual images specific to an operating system, and test what that would do in a sandbox environment. It's pretty interesting when you look at like just looking at network packets and being able to reassemble something like that, not actually doing a data capture on an endpoint, but actually taking the traffic and reassembling it. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know that Bro itself does that, but Bro sounds more akin to Snort, where it's like a piece of the puzzle. It's like, this is the thing that collects the data. What you do with the data is not Bro's problem.
They're gonna rename it, by the way.
Oh, what are they gonna call it?
What are they gonna rename it to? Sys?
They're still looking for input. So I was just reading one of the blog articles on it where they went through great pains to say, we're not being forced to do this. It's coming from inside, and we're all thinking about it. Because what does Bro stand for?
No idea.
So the original Bro is a short way of saying Big Brother.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But think about current culture. Right. But think about current culture. What's Bro?
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, Bro's not a great thing. It's a negative connotation.
No. So they're trying to
they're gonna rebrand to something else. They just haven't figured out what yet.
Well, whatever. As long as it does the same thing.
It looks like Sauron myself, but
Yeah, they could. Sauron.
Oh,
be good.
Bro is part of the Security Onion suite.
Yes.
The distro, I should say.
Cool.
That's cool. Network.
All right. Well, I think we've covered it about as well as we can.
And you're falling asleep, so.
Right, I'm tired. It's only 10:19 at night. I'm this tired.
It's only January 29th, and I'm this tired. 2018 is not off to a good start.
No.
No.
I'm dying. If you want to play with Bro and you don't have and you don't have an interesting network, or you don't have interesting network traffic, if you go to the Bro site, what's that?
Run it at your public library.
No, well, Okay, let's not condone that because that's
maybe
probably
a bad suggestion.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
That's probably not legal.
Just collect some data, pull it off.
If you go to the bro.org site and you go into documentation, towards the bottom is a link to packet traces. So they have there's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of these. Some of these are repositories, but they're actual packet traces you can download of different interesting things that you can sort of run Bro against and find out what's going on. So stuff like, there's a Nitroba University harassment scenario, which was a security exercise. There's packet traces that they took during the DEF CON 8 CTF contest.
Oh boy.
It sounds like that might be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
LBNL. I don't know what LBNL is, but it's anonymized and you can have that. There's some DARPA stuff. And then there's a bunch of repositories of other things. So there's traffic you can play with and sort of throw Bro at it and see what happens.
Cool. Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
I like when tools have data you can tinker with. Danny talked about that when he was on 2 episodes ago. That Squirrel has a VM you can download, and they actually have like.
You mean AWS?
No, it's not AWS. It's actually like a VM image you download.
No. Amazon just bought Squirrel.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right. That's been I don't want to go too deep into it, but yeah, basically Danny had, there were rumors that he couldn't confirm. And then the rumors were a little more solidified when he was on the show. And then now it's happened. So yeah.
Congrats, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's congrats or not. I've heard bad things about some people that work for Amazon, but I don't know anyone that works in their IT to know if it's bad or not.
There's good and bad with every company. Danny, if you're listening, tell Jeff I said hi.
Yeah, right. Like Danny would listen to our podcast. Do you listen to his podcast?
I don't listen to the podcast I have on my phone at this point, so
I subscribe, but I don't think
I don't listen to any podcast.
I am just about to the point where Christmas is happening, so I'm a little behind.
Dude, you're ahead of me. I'm still in November.
Wow. I'm nowhere near that far behind. I'm like 2 weeks back.
I don't drive as much as I used to, so.
Well, no. So I have a Google Home Mini in my office now. Not my office at work, but my home office, which is where I'm recording this from. And when I'm working remote on Fridays, I just cast my podcasts to it, and then I can listen to them while I'm working.
Hey Google, order me a 55-gallon drum of lube.
I don't think it's going to hear you because it can't hear what's in my.
Yeah,
headphones.
but maybe you'll play it through the home later on.
Right. It's funny. Some podcasts that use the keyword sometimes trigger my phone while I'm listening in my car. Which is pretty funny.
So it's interesting. I when I'm working, I have video podcasts, videos, whatever you want to call them, like Paul's Security Weekly and Ben Heck and TED Talks and stuff that run. And of course I'm behind on those too, because I spend more time
you listen
in
to
meetings
too many of
days.
them. You know what some people do when they realize they have too many podcasts? They cull. They take some out.
So which one would you cut out? The one that has the most posts, right? Well, goodbye Security Weekly.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
Like 12 podcasts a day.
Well, it depends on what you're listening to, right? Like I don't listen to Startup Security Weekly because it doesn't really apply to me. I listen to Enterprise, I listen to Secure Digital Life, and I listen to Security Weekly.
I work in the startup world, so that actually is applicable to me now. But I'm not so far behind on that. Oh yes, I am. I'm at Christmas. Huh. At least I'm keeping pace. But I'll do like an hour on the treadmill, and when I'm on the treadmill, I'm like I throw on like Infected Mushroom or something like that.
Yeah,
and then
listening to podcasts while on the treadmill would probably put you to sleep, and you'd fall off the treadmill.
No, actually, I do. I get a lot of work done on the because I got the laptop up there and I'm cranking.
Oh, okay. Man, you never stop working, do you?
No, well, it's funny because I was doing it today and I'm on the treadmill and I hop in a meeting, I hop out of the meeting and I'm doing something else and somebody asked me to do something. I'm like, oh, I'm probably coming up on like my first mile on the treadmill. So, like I got miles in. Another 45 minutes or so before I'm done. And I I'm like, hang on. I look, I'm more than halfway done. I'm like, more than a mile and a half in. And I went, I guess I got in the groove and didn't realize that like 30 minutes had passed already.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, that is a good way to get stuff done and get some exercise in.
I mean, anything with infected mushroom makes things go.
It does. It does. I mean,
for sure.
I heard infected mushroom the first time at DerbyCon. What was that? 2014.
The best concert that DerbyCon has had. Yes.
Yes, that has been. They have not topped that yet. Even Crystal Method was not that good.
You hear that, Dave? Infected mushroom has to come back.
We need more infected mushroom.
They were
anyway.
Oh wow!
But anyway. I mean, even my kids like infected mushroom.
Yeah, my son likes infected mushroom as well. So.
My 7-year-old and my 3-year-old like infected mushroom. To the point where I was talking to my daughter last night, my older daughter. I'm like, maybe when you get older, we'll go to a concert together because I think it'd be cool. I enjoyed the one at DerbyCon. I have no idea what an infected mushroom concert is like and what age group would be good for that sort of concert. But
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's good for coding too. Get into the
exactly. That's what I was getting at. Like it's good for like anything. I listen to it while I'm working. I listen to it while I'm emptying the dishwasher. I listen to. I mean, it's just good background music for anything.
Dub coding.
Dub coding.
Dub coding.
Yeah,
I like it.
So, yes, infected mushroom, folks. If you like anything with a beat, you'll like infected mushroom. Good stuff.
Get some. It's good stuff.
Get some infected mushroom. Maybe we can convince an infected mushroom to do us an intro song for our podcast. That'd be awesome.
Really cool.
That would be that would make me want to change the music. I do like the music we use, but if infected mushroom gave us a song, forget it. I mean, it's like.
How much I think they charge us for a song?
I don't know. Depends on how giving they are. How much they like IT.
Good stuff.
All
right, gents. I think we've beaten the
I think
conversation of death.
We've covered everything for the night. I really need to redo this closing thing because it just gets longer and longer. Hey, you can find us on places that you can get podcasts, like all of them. So just go find us.
And if you don't find us on it, let us know and we'll get there.
Let us know and we'll add it. But the Google Play Store, the Apple iTunes, the Stitcher, the whatever, just go get us, podcasty stuff. I mean, if you're listening to us, you probably don't need to care, right? Because you've already found us. And just tell all your friends to go listen to Iron Sysadmin because we're awesome. And while you're at it, tell them to go to Patreon and give us some money because money makes the world go round and we can do a better podcast if we have money.
I'm pretty sure money doesn't make the world go round. Probably something to do with like physics and gravity and stuff.
I saw this in Superman. He makes the world go round. He can make it go backwards, and that's how time goes backwards. That's totally how it works. I saw it in a movie.
On my way.
Look, it's not like it was on the internet, okay?
You can watch this train wreck happen live every other Monday night on YouTube. Roughly, I don't know. I guess we haven't really settled on a time. It used to be late, then it was earlier, and now it's sort of in the middle, especially when my computer doesn't work right.
If you like and subscribe, YouTube will let you know when we start streaming live.
Yes, that's what you should do. You should like and subscribe, and then whenever the hell we get this thing going, YouTube will tell you.
And if enough of you like and subscribe, we can get better name than what's our name today?
Oh, it's like like Echo Iron Sysadmin Pipe MD5.
No, it's not that easy. Come on.
Yeah, right. It's not that easy at all. No, yeah, but yeah, he's got a point there. If we get 100 subscribers, we can actually have a friendly name on YouTube, like youtube.com/Iron Sysadmin. Imagine that.
Like,
Wouldn't
wow.
that be an awesome world that we live in?
Would it be
Wow,
We could get there.
Would it be unethical to use some of our Patreon money to pay for subscribers?
Yes, it would be.
To go buy YouTube accounts.
Well, I mean,
that might be unethical. I don't know if I'd be opposed to it.
Man.
The things we will do for you listeners.
Wow. Unfortunately, YouTube has changed their partner programs such that we need 1,000 subscribers before we can make any money off of YouTube. So I don't think there's any chance we'll ever offset our Patreon donors with YouTube funds.
I don't know that I care if we make money on this. I think it's just fun.
No, but if there's a little bit of money coming in, we can use it to buy beer for our our podcast nights. Or
get on Patreon now.
We all have microphones already, but we could get a better mixer. We could get better audio gear. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could do with a little bit
I'm
extra.
all in for free beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I also there's some Amazon S3 expenses because that's where I host the episodes. Right now, we already make enough from Patreon to pay for that, which is cool. So that's good enough for now. But yeah, more money's always better, right?
Well, so they say.
So they say.
Till we get all corrupted and stuff.
Crooked.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm willing to give that a shot just for our listeners.
Yeah, I'm willing to find out if money will corrupt me.
At what level will Nate become corrupt?
we need to do Patreon levels, just like corruption levels.
Is Nate corrupt at $50 a month? Is he corrupt at $120 a month? We can have in-depth studies about whether Nate is corrupt yet.
Interesting. And then we can have a new show. How corrupt is Nate this week?
Is NateCorruptYet.com.
Ooh, I like it.
Go register that. We'll have like a little like thermometer on there about the level of funds to the level of like.
The only thing, if you have a full website, Nate, you have to wear a body cam, like all the time. We have to know everything and everything.
Just to see how corrupt I am.
We have to start a reality show.
I don't want to see that.
I really don't think anybody would want to see a 24/7 Nate cam.
You never know, man. People like weird things.
I mean, okay, I really don't think I'd want to show anybody a 24/7 Nate cam.
I'll give you that.
This is really going a bad direction.
Make money.
If you want to see a 24/7 Nate cam, just join Patreon at level.
Oh boy.
I tell you what, I will happily put a $5,000 a month reward level.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Listen, for $5,000 a month, I'll wear a damn body cam.
You're that guys for $5,000 a month. Nate will
So now you guys know at what level will Nate become corrupt? $5,000 a month.
I wouldn't call that corrupt.
Nah, that's not corrupt.
It's not corrupt.
Invading my own home with a body cam, I would call that corrupt.
Nah, it's more like at what point will Nate sell out?
Yeah.
At what point does Nate sell out?
Like a band from the 90s. Ooh, I'm not going to mention.
Right. I won't cut off all my hair and shave my goatee though. Wait. All my hair's gone already. Damn.
I got to shave this small bear off my face. It's getting itchy.
Yep, that's why the beard is gone. That's why I'm back to the goatee.
So annoying.
I couldn't take the itch anymore.
Guys, you should just do what I do. Not be capable of growing such
Not be capable of growing a substantial beard.
You're a lucky man.
I don't have this problem anymore.
I don't know. I think it's handy to be able to grow facial hair for when it's really cold outside.
Maybe. I'll give you that. Especially when you get the secret sauce stuck in your stash. A little taste for later.
I don't see much growth on your face either there, Dustin.
Yeah, this is like I don't know, 2 weeks now? Week?
God, In like a week, I have a bear on my face. I don't know if you can call it that.
More of a bear than me then.
What did
I have like chia pet on my face within a week.
I'm like a baby bear. You're a papa bear.
This is like 3 or 4 days, at least.
Lucky.
Maybe more. I don't remember.
You hear that? That's
that?
1 day's worth. Anyway, I think we've sufficiently gone off task, and I think we should just end the show. So
off task. We're off the rails.
Completely off the rails. Before the next episode, I'm going to find a free train wreck sound to play on the soundboard.
Choo choo.
Okay.
This is going to have to happen. So yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. Anyone who's watched us on YouTube, which I don't think there were any. So folks, come on, watch us on YouTube. It's fun. You could witness this live.
There's totally a train wreck emoji in Slack. So
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're halfway there.
So we need a sound to go along with it, and then we can play a train wreck sound instead of Marvin the Martian.
Play sounds through Slack?
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering
Kaboom!
Kaboom.
Kaboom.
For that.
All right, folks, I'm going to play the outro music because we're just going to go further off the rails. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, that was fun. I think we're going to stop the broadcast now. Anybody who's watching us on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. What?
Did the music go the whole time?